Hello, my name is Evan Kraus. I am a student here at SUNY Cortland with Dr. Kim, and I'm going to be doing my reflection on my teaches and the overall cross-class peer teaching experience that I had within this class and 282. So the first question, sharing a specific example where teamwork helped our learning experience. During my second teach with my group, McKenna and Hannah and Jake, I had a really good experience with that teach. I thought that teach went very well overall, and we all kind of used our teamwork together in a way of we all had um specific like positive things to bring into the classroom. So some of us were very vocal, and some of us were very creative. Some of us could manage a classroom better, and some of us had more knowledge on certain aspects than others did. So what we did very well in that assignment was we all kind of played to our strengths. So knowing that we're all teaching together, and it's not just a one person leading and the rest following. Instead, it's four leaders. All right, on to the next question about discussing the situation where I had to demonstrate leadership. Same thing in that second teach when we were in the fitness room. I was teaching the activities that worked on your back muscles. So I was working on pull-ups and rows and all that good stuff. And during that activity, it seemed to be that I had to be a leader because I demonstrated. There another time I was a leader when students were kind of falling out of it. I was trying to motivate them and I was trying to lead them. With the pull-ups, obviously no one really likes pull-ups, so I had created a competition and sort of a challenge for them to face. And during that time when they're doing the challenge, I was constantly motivating them. I was counting off how close they were until they were being done. I gave every single person a fist bump um, after they completed the challenge, and I also made it individual. So each person, depending on their own confidence and kind of the attitude I picked up about pull-ups, I immediately altered what the goal was. So next question, number 4. How did I think it enhanced like the 282 students' understanding of fitness concepts? So obviously, when you're learning something like when you're learning a certain subject and you're hearing it from the same professor over and over again, they might teach in a certain way that just doesn't work for you. So if that method of teaching, or just simply the vocabulary they use or the way they talk, sometimes it just isn't picked up. I've had professors where they're really really good teachers, but just the way they teach doesn't work for me. So when you're hearing it from 20 different of people your age who talk the same way that you do, who use the same lingo, who have the same ideas that you do, a lot of times you can pick up information quicker. So if you or Dr. Bryce was to explain it in a certain way and maybe a student is confused, I can go, hey, what they mean by this is this. And I can explain it in terminology and simplify it in a way that they can understand because we're personal with each other. We're the same age. We live very, very similar lives. So I feel like that really enhanced their learning because not only are they hearing it in a different way, but they're also hearing it from people they can relate to. So throughout both my teaches, I received a lot of positive and some negative feedback as well. Obviously, because there's always something we can improve on. So during the first teach, I received one piece of positive feedback that really will always stick with me, and one like negative one. So the negative one is when we were doing our stations. The activity that I had planned for my station was a bit dull. It was a bit stale. Although it was working on the right concepts, it really wasn't keeping them engaged. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. The same way you say, Dr. Kim, it's all about how much fun they're having. And although you're doing something maybe unfun like push-ups or planks, there's so many easy ways to make that fun. Whether it be competitions, whether it be like motivation. And if I join in with them, something as simple as me getting in there and doing it with them might give them the extra motivation to do it. Like, oh, if the teacher's doing it, then I can too. Really make it fun for them. Make it something that they can take away and like, yeah, let's get into it. So I received some negative feedback about that because it seemed that a lot of students didn't want to engage in mine, and mine was almost like the boring filler one that we had to do. So I definitely learned that no matter what I do, make it fun. And then for positive feedback, I received a lot of positive feedback on how I interact with the students. So like when I saw that there was a lot of engagement in one of the warm-up activities we were doing, I did it with them. I ran with them, and I was like, let's go. I really keep it to my pace. So something as simple as that really, really keeps them involved and wanting to have fun. Because like I said, when your teacher does it, you often will too. So a lot of positive and negative feedback that I will definitely take with me and allow for myself to grow. The cross class peer teaching boosted my confidence in a way as a teacher. Is it kind of just reinforced me that this is what I want to be doing. So obviously, with the more experience you have, the better you're going to be at something. So this really gave me practice, and it's really hard, especially too with teaching kids that are my age. Is oftentimes like they don't want to listen as much because, like I said, when there isn't that power dynamic there, oftentimes they're like, well, you're in the same place as I am. We're both college kids. Why do I have to listen to you? But kind of just creating that mutual respect of like, hey, you help me out, and then the next person along the line will help you out when you're in my position. So it really boosted my confidence in the fact that if I can feel confident going in front of a group of my peers, then I can go in front of a group of kids who are much more bound to listen to me because there is that power dynamic. So, and obviously with more experience comes anything. I learned so much, and it really reinforced the idea that this is what I want to do, because if I enjoy teaching kids my age and my friends this much, then I can't even imagine when I get to a school setting. So I'm very excited for that. For 282, getting this awesome experience, for number 7, how do I see it enhancing? Not only are they learning different different subjects about health and fitness, and all the topics we covered from a different point of view, like I said, that different teaching styles, they're also kind of getting an insight as to what they're going to have to do in the upcoming semesters. So obviously if you take 282, you have to take 382 unless you drop out or whatever. But seeing what's coming up and hearing the criticism that the 382 student gets, and hear that negative feedback and positive, can allow them to build their teaching strategies right then and there. So when they come to 382, they don't have to make some of the simple mistakes that maybe I made or my group made. They can just get rid of that right away because they heard us make the mistake. Not only can you learn from your own mistakes, but you can learn from others as well. The same way I watched other groups and I saw they did this wrong or that wrong. I'm like, okay, when I go, I'm going to do something different. What I got for number 8, what I got from 382 and these in the cross class peer teaching, and what can I bring with me in the future? Um, a lot of things I want to incorporate in my future lessons are the use of visual aids, the use of QR codes, and how important it is to incorporate just fun activities. So obviously with a lot of like other standard physical education activities, there's some sort of game or some sort of ball involved, and those typically just lead to more fun in general. But when you're specifically working on exercising, especially in the fitness room, a lot of times a lot of students fear that room, and they fear how boring it is or how routine it is. But there's so many ways that you can make it fun that I learned in this class that I plan to take with me, whether it be like plank competitions or, push-up competitions, or really just challenging yourself and setting some sort of record. Something as simple as that, or just doing something with a partner, can make it all the more enjoyable. I'd say the biggest advantages of cross-class peer teaching, obviously, is you're getting experience. You are getting feedback, which is incredible from people who are your peers. So when you go out into the classroom and you realize that you had this wrong and this wrong and that wrong, it's a lot harder to hear it from maybe a teacher that you're not as familiar with, but instead somebody who you're best friends with. I'd rather hear my friend tell me, hey, you're doing this wrong, and try to work on this, than somebody that I don't know. And that allows me to get better than before I get in those professional situations. So obviously experience is incredible, just the knowledge overall, the strategies, and I learned just as much from the feedback that I got that the other people's got as well. I'd say the only challenges I really faced in this was sometimes was like the fact that we had 4 people teaching a group of 16 was hard, because it's like there's not that many kids and it's a lot of educators, so I'm only getting experience with teaching 5-6 students at one time if you're doing stations. So maybe having smaller groups would have been a little bit easier. But how I addressed it is pretty much I just made the best of it. I would plan as if there was more students, and then whatever students I did have, I would just adjust accordingly, because that's going to happen sometimes. And another challenge I faced was that these kids are my peers. They're my friends. They're people that I'm very close with. So a lot of times when I'm trying to, almost play a role where I'm the teacher and they're younger students than they actually are, sometimes that clashed a little bit because they don't want to do something, or they oh, this is silly.